Oh, there's somebody. Hey, Francesca.
Hi.
So the warm-up is on the screen. It's not anything we're going to go over together today. I'll let you guys just write it down and then I'll read it whenever you turn in your warm-up sheets. We are going to start class very soon. So if you could like take a picture of it, or we are recording. So after class, if you wanted to go back and look at it, you could. Okay, I'm going to fix one thing on, I realized that there's a place on your homework where it says equations instead of inequalities. And I'm going to fix that if my computer will ever load. Okay. And this is taking longer than I thought it would, because Canvas is being so slow. I guess it'll give you a minute to write, especially Francesca. Okay, let me mark Francesca as present. And attendance is taken. Just waiting on this activity to load. There we go. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to switch screens real quick. So let's see. Okay. All right, so today we're taking some notes on absolute value inequalities. I'm sure it won't be too difficult for you guys. So we're doing notes. Absolute value inequalities. Okay. And if you have colored pens or pencils or crayons or markers or something, it might be nice to have. Okay, so we are doing inequalities today. This is different than what we did yesterday. Yesterday was equations. So we had equal signs in our absolute value expressions instead of the inequality signs. Okay, so we're going to talk about solving these today. So step 1 for solving absolute value inequalities is going to be to isolate the absolute value expression. Okay, and you guys should be pros at this. We'll do a little example of the absolute value of x plus 2 plus 3 is greater than c. And the whole goal is to get this little piece, that absolute value expression, by itself. Okay. So if one of you doesn't mind answering, what are we going to have to do to get that by itself?
Would you subtract the 2?
So the 2's inside of the absolute value. And so we want to like keep this chunk together, this chunk that's like bracketed.
Oh, would you subtract the 3?
Yes, we subtract the 3, good. Okay, and so our goal is to end up with the absolute value of x plus 2 is greater than c. So this is the goal for step 1. To get, oh, I'm sorry, c minus 3. Okay, so you're trying to get that absolute value section by itself with nothing in front of it, nothing behind it. All right, questions on that step? Okay, if there are no questions, then I'll go ahead and start writing out step 2. Okay, step 2 is a little bit more complex. So step 2, well, the phrasing of it isn't. Step 2 is just to pick the form of your inequality. Okay, and there are 4 forms we're going to talk about. So I'll let you write that down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write out form 1. Form 2, form 3, and form 4. Okay, so in form 1, we're going to have greater than, the greater than symbol. Okay, so it looks like that. Let's just go ahead and like fill in everything. So form 3 is our less than, which looks like this. Form 2 is going to be greater than or equal to. Okay, which looks like this. And then the form 4 is going to be less than or equal to. Which looks like this. Okay, so those are the 4 different ways we could have an inequality written out. And then right underneath each of those little things, I'm going to show you what the expression would look like with the absolute value and then how to split it up and solve it. What questions do you have so far? Okay, if there are no questions, then we'll just keep it moving. All right, so in form 1, you're going to have the absolute value of x plus some sort of number. And it's going to have the greater than symbol and then some sort of constant. Okay, that's how it's going to look. And this is going to be the same for each of the forms. So like in form 2, I'd have this x plus a in absolute value with a greater than or equal to sign. And then here I would have x plus a, the less than sign, and the absolute value of x plus a with the less than or equal to sign. Okay. All right, and then, so this is what like the initial thing would look like after you've done step one, okay? You'll have everything, the absolute value isolated, and you'll just like have a number over here. And then the next part is going to be, you'll like pick which one of these four forms it is, and then you have to split it into two different inequalities. So for form one, we'll rewrite as x plus a is greater than b, and we'll have another one with x plus a is less than negative b. So the key thing that happened here is that I flipped this sign and I made the b negative. Okay, so one of the forms will have the sign flipped and it will have a negative b on it. This is going to be the same for each of the forms. So like in form 2, I would end up with x plus a. My original inequality symbol was greater than or equal to b. And so then in my next form, I'm going to have x plus a, but I'm going to have less than or equal to, and I'm going to make it a negative b. Okay, so what questions do you guys have about that?
So when you rewrite it, you change the sign?
Yeah, so you're dropping the absolute value, and you have two different ways you write it, just like with the equations, except with the equation, we didn't have anything that we could change the equal sign to for the negative b. Here, we're picking the less than or equal to sign because we want something smaller than this negative b. So we like switch it around. Okay, so one of them has it normal and one of the forms has it switched. So I'm going to rewrite form 3 and 4 as well. So I'd have x plus a is less than b, and x plus a is greater than negative b. And in the last one, x plus a is less than or equal to b, and x plus a is greater than or equal to negative b. Okay, and the last part of that is to solve for x for each of those forms. Okay, so the part that is highlighted in each of these is highlighted because when we set up the negative option,